Alright, welcome back, historians from around the internet. It's been a while since I've got to do a proper exploration. Wanted to come up here to the historic Old Russellville Cemetery because I covered it back in the early days of the channel, and I went back and rewatched it. I just wasn't pleased with how I done it, so I figured, why not? At the behest of my dad, harassing me because it's opening day of deer season, and I know he's watching this. I wanted to come up here again anyway, because some point in the past some people have come up here and they've tried to clean it up. Some of it because there's a lot of graves that are back in the thicket, but I guess they just haven't got back around to it. I think the Boy Scouts done it, if I'm not mistaken. So, at any rate, before we get into that, it's fall season here in Tennessee. Some of the leaves are already gone, but, look at all the pretty colors around. Everybody in Appalachia lives in the land of gold at fall time. So, keep in mind, too, I do have a merch store. You guys can support me there, or you can do it PayPal. Not required. Don't care if you do or not. I just like to spread history with all of you, my friends. So, without further ado, let's get into Old Russellville Cemetery. Hey, that's a cool car. And no, I'm not parked on anybody. Alright, so Old Russellville Cemetery. Oldest burial I could find up here dates back to, I think, 1847. But there could be a grave in there that's even older. Russellville is a pretty old community, older than Morristown by quite a few decades. So, I was up here last, and it's been a while. I've been up here 2 or 3 times. I just haven't videoed them. I have went over there, and I think I do remember some older graves being back there, but maybe they just didn't get around to recording them. Who is this? 5th Tennessee Infantry, Mexican-American War. Company G. W.C. Atkinson, excuse me. War veteran here. Wonder if he was with one of those folks shouting, "Remember the Alamo." This is Clara Atkinson. 1855, 1897. Well, it must have been his wife or his mom or something. Here is a broken tombstone. This one was not like that. So this is James Anderson. Thought this might have been a little family plot. Alright, Wall. Augustus Wall. Not familiar with that name. So keep in mind, folks, when you come through these cemeteries, I guess that belongs up there. You come through these cemeteries, you find a lot of children's graves. Back then, child care just wasn't what it is today, and things were a little bit harder back then, looking at it from today's standpoint. And this is cool. That's hand carved. My great grandmother, Laura Myers, you guys have heard me mention her a few times in some of my videos. I found her tombstone not too far from where her homestead was over in the Rogersville area, and it's hand carved too. They were pretty poor. Evan Potter, Company G, 8th Tennessee Cavalry. That could be Civil War. No date on it. Could be Civil War. Could be Mexican American. Some of these are pretty hard to read. All I can see on this one is David Potter and his wife, Myra Potter, 1860, and it has some inscription down there. This is a nice quiet little cemetery, the field up there. Now before we go any further, I'm going to insert a map right here. Explain to you guys about that field. So the town, small village, I guess you could say, of Russellville is about to be no more, because I've lived here. I grew up in Whitesburg, down the road. They have been saying that they're going to come through with the 4 lanes since 1998. I remember Dad going to the meetings where they was trying to figure out where it was going to go. Tiny little stone. So now they are actually going through with it, and the state is buying up property. And I've already seen some of it come up. And there's a map. Anyway, the town of Russellville is going to be no more. There's going to be a 4-lane coming through. It's going to go right around the back side of that hill and follow the railroad tracks. It's pretty unfortunate. You know, none of us that lived there thought they was ever going to do it, because they've been saying it for, you know, the last 25 years almost now. Last 30 years. So it's unfortunate, but here's a map that shows, it's going to show you the route. And it's not going to take the Longstreet Museum. It's not going to take Hayslope either. It's going to come close, but it's not. You know, they can't take historic landmarks. At least I don't believe. If somebody knows any better on that, feel free to correct me. So here is Paul Potter, 1st Tennessee. 1st Tennessee LA. I don't know what LA means. Don't know on that one. If anybody knows what LA is on the tombstone already. Here are some tiny tombstones. These could be poor people, they could be slaves. Could be children. I do know that slaves did use stones like this, but it wasn't, as far as for what I've known, it's not a common thing to see slaves buried in a regular cemetery like this. Somebody's been up here hanging out. Those have been there for a while, but who knows. So again, you guys do come up to these places. They're pretty far out. If they're overgrown like that, take protection. You know, you don't know if there's going to be coyote in there, snake, or somebody. You know, please protect yourself. You know. James Byrd, 2nd Lieutenant, 2nd Tennessee Infantry. I don't know what that one says. It's pretty. I don't know. All I can see is maybe that's Henry or Reverend J.A. Byrd. Okay, cool. Okay, here's a gate. Vanilla Kane, wife of Adolphus Witt, or White. I wonder if that's part of the White family that settled Whitesburg back in the early 1700s. Narcissa Kane, Catherine Kane. John Kane back there. Minerva Weems, wife of John Kane. So this is a little family plot here. Blanche Kane, she was 8 years old. What I was talking about children's graves. Might not have had access to a doctor. Could have got typhoid fever or some kind of weird disease. What's in this gate? So Oaks. Not familiar with the Oaks family. Somebody knows any better? Holler, comment down below. Rice Oaks, born 1794, 1873. Now Jim Claiborne, he'll tell you, you know, a man born in, you know, 1760 lived 80 years. You know, he's seen the Revolution and all these states coming up, and then he would have seen, his son would have seen Civil War and maybe World War I if he lived long enough. His son would have seen World War II and Korea and Vietnam, you know, and so on. Would have seen the car, electricity, all that stuff. Really cool to think about how young America is when you look at stuff like European history, where you can go back 10 generations and it's still the same country. There's another Rice Oaks, Rice Oaks Jr. So there are tombstones laying in here. Like JP and Mary Boland. Put this one back here. That's on the other side. So you got all those over there. This just needs cleaned up really good. But, you know, this isn't maintained by any church, I don't believe, so it's just a matter of getting volunteers out here. Hold on. What's this one? Something Cox, C-O-X. I can't really read that. Maybe you guys can see it a little bit better than me. Lindtail, I don't know. It is unfortunate that this is so overgrown, but, you know, it's peaceful out here. You know, maybe it would probably be beneficial for somebody to come out here and clean it, you know, so people can come visit their ancestors. Goodson Taylor and son of, okay, cool. So this cemetery goes all the way back here. And who knows how many graves are under all this stuff, you know. It's faded too bad. It looks like that says couch. C-O-U-C-H, yeah, couch. Can't read out of date. Some trees have fell on this stuff. Broken some tombstones. We'll get over there here shortly. A little bitty guy right there. R.F. Bewley. So I do know that the Bewley family, you guys might remember the video I made of the Bewley family, or the Carmichael Bewley stone house, or brick house, excuse me. It's over there off of Highway 160 here in Hamblen County. So the Bewley family, very prominent. Jacob Bewley was, I think, I forget what the term they called it back then was, but he was pretty much president. Andrew Jackson's political advisor. So they did stay here for a little while, and I think this is one of his kids. That's cool to know. So somebody else can correct me. That's cool. It looks like a family crest. Maybe some Bewleys will see this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Shield with a cross. Looks like maybe wings or some kind of something. That's really cool. That's how you know that those folks right there had money. They had enough money to have their family crest inscribed on their tombstone. Not everybody could afford to do that. Well, there's a Bewley right there in his own little Gothic Victorian gate. I'll see if I can get over there here shortly. And Elizabeth Ford, one GL Ford over there. And he's over here. He was a Freemason. Frank W. Ford, 1875, 1923. Most Freemasons have that symbol up there. For those that have never researched into that, well, I think most people know that for now. Lots of little berry bushes here. You guys can see that. So these do go on back. I'm not going to go too far and explore every single one of them, but I do want to eventually make my way back down that way. This might be a future project for Old History, organizing a mass cleanup of this little area. Do have some exciting stuff coming up, although I don't really want to spoil it, so we'll just leave it at that. Somebody contact me and we'll just leave it at that. I'll leave that up for the imagination as to what it could be. William Creech. And I totally forgot about my family cemetery up there in Rogersville either. Just had I just wanted to wait, and well, now my son is 6 months old, so I'm just waiting a little bit. And obviously it ain't going nowhere. Annie Shields. Shields is another popular family around here. Might have heard of Shields Paper Mill. It was one of the first mills of its kind to be built around here. And it was over off of Shields Ferry Road, and it don't stand any longer, but I think Joe Moore has found a couple of old pictures of it. Alright, so my GoPro battery died. It sucks. Luckily I had a spare. I don't know what it is with these GoPro batteries. They just don't last too long. At least not for the GoPro 7 anyway. I'm using the Hero 7 Black. Alright, so I was over there talking about the Shields family. Joe Moore has some pictures of the old Shields Mill on Hamblen County History Facebook group. Nothing really of interest over there. Down there where we parked, there is some newer, more modern graves. I don't know when the last burial here was. I'd imagine it would have been sometime in the last 10 or 20 years, but I don't know much about it. I do remember when I was little, I'd pass by here going to Mama's, going to school in Mama's just about every day. This place was pretty grown up, and where we just walked right over there was, pretty inaccessible. So it's been cleaned out at least pretty well within the last couple of years. So anyway, here we are, Jackson Miller. This is pretty obscure back here behind a tree. Looks like the tree needs to be cut down. Okay. Another little stone. Again, that could be poor family, could be a slave. I don't know. No way of telling without digging them up, and I'm not doing that and getting painted. So here we are, S.L. Miller, Company G, 6th Cavalry, IND Cavalry. I don't know what IND is. I haven't been studying up on my terminology. Know a lot of things, but It just happens. All right, so, oh, here's a, looks like this could be a Confederate veteran. Now I can tell, well, there's a Confederate flag there. So, who is this? Something Miller, company G6, 5th or 6th Tennessee Infantry, Mexican-American War. Okay, so why is there a Confederate flag here? Questions that I don't have the answers to. This is pretty deteriorated. I just stepped on a stone right here. James Miller, son of S and S Miller, 26 years old. 20 or 26 years old. Died July 18 something, 1848. Unfortunate. Who's back here? This ain't up too bad. I can't make it out. GS. Another 8 up one. Could have just been planted there like that. Again, that could have been a poor family. Alright, so that concludes the Old Russellville Cemetery. We got some down here. There's one under all that stuff right there. There's another one up there. Can't see it. Reverend J.A.G. Bewley. Died 1850. He was 41 years old. He professed religion and joined the Methodist Episcopal Church in the year 1827. And on the 5th of October 1839, he was called to the gospel ministry, which he had labored to the time of his death. Well, that's cool. Wonder if he was one of the infamous primitive Southern Baptist preachers that may have came from Reverend Tidance Slane's school. So the Kaufman, Reverend Andrew Kaufman was one of those. He was regarded as a man of profound stature in his day. The Kaufman house, just a little bit down that way. My good friend owns it. Got to play in it. I like to brag about that. Can't read that. Those primitive Southern Baptist preachers, man, they got after it. They're very revered people. There's that cool car again. So here we are. Oh, 1999. Answered my own question. Raymond Jones. Private. First class. Company. AT Company. 164th Infantry. World War II. I really like the World War history, reading up on that, because you guys follow my Facebook stuff. For those that don't, my great-grandfather was a Marine at the Battle of Peleliu, which was one of the bloodiest and most brutal maritime battles in United States history. I think it was a full quarter or a full half or something like that. Somebody correct me. Of all of the infantrymen and Marines that went up on that island, or injured or died. His brother, my Uncle Bill, was at Pearl Harbor on Hickam Field when they bombed the runway at Pearl Harbor. He was, who's this? Fred Rankin Driver. Let's move this out of the way, put it back. World War II in Korea. He was a CFC Corporal 8th Ranger C B. I don't know what any of that means. A Cavalry. That's really cool. This man was probably pretty decorated. He's in World War II in Korea. Well, nobody's up here, so I'm not disturbing anybody that's visiting. But it is still pretty cool to, look at. See Lipton. Jarnigans, it's another prominent family here in Hamblen County. Eileen Norton. Roselle Norton, Private First Class, 4th Service Command, World War II. And there could be graves over there too, but I'm not entirely sure, but that's somebody else's property. That looks like a pretty good game trail. Alright, so anyway, it's Old Russellville Cemetery here in Russellville, Tennessee. I hope you guys enjoyed the exploration. Keep your eyes out for more content. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.